Good day. On June 1st, 2025, Ukraine carried out a brazen attack on air bases in Russia. The Ukrainian Secret Service, known as the SBU, launched a coordinated drone attack on 5 air bases in Russia that housed strategic bombers of the Russian strategic triad. And that operation was a success. It was codenamed Operation Spider Web, and by all reckoning, it took the whole world by surprise, particularly the Russians, and it gave the Ukrainians a moment of joy, a moment of intense euphoria. It was a big propaganda coup for the Ukrainians, and it was just not a propaganda coup. The Ukrainians went out with some major war trophies. They damaged and destroyed what they said were 41 strategic bombers of the Russian strategic nuclear fleet, but also which later on has been found to be around 10 to 17 of such bombers were destroyed or damaged. In all reckoning, it was a brazen and successful operation. It gave the Ukrainians a moment of intense happiness and joy. Operation Spider Web has been touted as a high point of the Ukraine-Russia war. But in the aftermath of that war, there was silence on the part of some of Ukraine's biggest supporters, particularly President Donald Trump of America. No doubt, America under the Biden administration was Ukraine's biggest supporter, but under President Biden, he has chosen to try and push and urge Ukraine towards making peace with the Russians. He has put diplomacy in ending the war as a major plank of his foreign affairs goals. But after that attack, Operation Spiderweb, Donald Trump was quiet for over 2 days. And when he finally spoke, it was to announce that he had spoken to Russian President Vladimir Putin to assure him that America had no hand in that attack and to tell him to get a feel of what Russia's response will be. Another strong supporter of Ukraine who also expressed reservation about the attack on Russia's strategic nuclear triad bombers was Kit Kellogg, America's envoy to Ukraine. General Kit Kellogg is one of the great supporters of Ukraine in America. He has carried the Ukrainian cause, and he has a plan that, if implemented, will be seen as being more favorable towards the Ukrainians. But Kit Kellogg expressed serious reservation about attacking strategic bombers in Russia's strategic nuclear triad. That he felt was a little bit taking things too far, and it was a little bit too risky. The Russians, on the other hand, they kept quiet for a few days, and then recently they had a response. The response is not what everybody expected. In fact, some people still feel that the major response will still come up. But the Russians stepped up drone and ballistic missile attack on Ukraine. They increased pressure on the war in many, many fronts. And but if in the past week since the attack, if Russia has done anything, is to damage Ukraine through propaganda. The propaganda pressure that Russia is putting on Ukraine is that after the engagement with Ukraine, they had a meeting and it was agreed that they will send back dead bodies between Ukraine and exchange dead bodies between Ukraine and Russia. Russia has been telling the world since then that they have been trying to send back Ukraine war dead, but Ukraine has been refusing to pick up this war dead. Because we have come to find out that in taking 6,000 war dead from Russia, it's almost a brazen attack on the finances of Ukraine, because the total payments to families of the soldiers who died will amount to almost $2 billion. That is funds that at this point in time, Ukraine does not have. Hello, welcome to Ebima Amungo's perspective on global affairs. Thank you for supporting this channel to grow so far, but I urge you to subscribe, make comments about the ideas I put forward here, and like and share. If you like, press the like button and share. Well, since that attack, since Operation Spiderweb, a lot has gone cold on the American side. I had put out a video where I said that Donald Trump is not a fan of Ukraine, and he has stated it that he does not particularly like Zelensky because Zelensky is making that one process that he has put forward, the peace process, the diplomatic pathway, to be very hard. Zelensky has some positions that makes it hard, just as the Russians themselves under Putin have positions that make it hard. So there's no meeting point between the two. But for Trump, he believes that the cards are in the hands of the Russians. So if any concessions will be made, it should be on the part of the Ukrainians. A few days after Operation Spiderweb, there was a concerted bombing all across Ukraine. In fact, there's been sustained bombing and drone attacks on Ukraine since then. And the response of Donald Trump has been that the Ukrainians gave Putin a reason for him to bomb the hell out of them. That was his words, that they gave Putin an excuse to bomb the hell out of them. He didn't seem fazed by the fact that Ukraine is under threat by the Russians and that Ukraine is losing ground on many fronts all across their country. In the Eastern Front and in the Sumy region and in the Kherson region and in the Zaporizhzhia region, they are losing a lot. But today it emerged that Donald Trump is stepping back from the Ukraine war. Today, President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine, accused Donald Trump of diverting military equipment appropriated for Ukraine by the Biden administration to other engagements in the Middle East. He claims that the Trump administration has diverted a large military aid package his predecessor had promised Kyiv, and this military package included anti-drone missiles Ukraine desperately needs in Russia's long range because Russia has got one weapon called the Geran 3. It used to be known as the Shahid. It was a modified version of Iranian drones that they have learned to mass produce, they have upgraded, and they now produce in large numbers, and they use relentlessly in attacking several oblast cities and regions of Ukraine. So Zelensky has come out and said Donald Trump has stopped anti-drone missiles that were due to Ukraine. This is an allegation he has made. So in short, he has come out and said, look, this is what Trump is doing to us. But another indication that Trump is stepping away from Ukraine is that just a day or two after the attack on Russia on the strategic bombers within Russian territory, Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, did something that had not been done in the past 3 years of the war. He skipped a very important meeting that has been held monthly, regularly, to raise funds for Ukraine, called the Ukraine Contact Group meeting of NATO. He did something that was new. He said he wasn't going to be a part of it. So, news report has come out that Trump administration has stopped giving military aid to Ukraine to the tune of $3.85 billion. These are military equipment that had been already appropriated by the Biden administration. And when journalists were pressing other Trump administration officials like the foreign secretary, Marco Rubio, why the administration can't give Ukraine more air defense weapons at a time that Russia is bombing, as Trump said, the hell out of them. Marco Rubio said there was none for America to give. They don't have weapons to give Ukraine anymore because they had given all their Patriot missile systems to Ukraine, and that even the European supporters and backers of Ukraine were not willing to let go of theirs. So Ukraine is now in a bind where that spigot of unlimited financial assistance, but most notably military assistance that had come from the Biden administration, is beginning to shut down, shut. The Trump administration is stepping away from Ukraine. There's nothing that can say this more than these actions that has been revealed today. Added to that, today we got to learn that President Donald Trump has intervened or talked to a very important supporter of Ukraine in the form of Senator Lindsey Graham and his partner, Senator Richard Blumenthal of the Democratic Party, this bipartisan coalition of 80 senators who are trying to raise a bill that will put bone-crushing sanctions against countries buying Ukraine's or Russia's oil. It's a sanction that is supposed to put 500% tariffs on countries that are still supporting the Russian economy by buying their oil and trading with Russia. But Trump has, from what we read in the Bloomberg, that he has told Lindsey Graham to slow down that bill. In fact, even the Wall Street Journal has said that that bill is being watered down. They don't want to have that kind of bone-crushing sanctions against trading partners that at a time when Trump is finding a way through the maze of tariffs and Liberation Day tariffs that he has put and the blowback that these tariffs regimes have come to hit America with. But even then, today also, a very critical member of the Trump administration, his vice president, J.D. Vance, called the support that the Biden administration gave to Ukraine crazy. He said what happened under the Biden administration was crazy. There was spending so much money all over the world. They weren't engaged in diplomacy. They were just throwing money at the war. And he didn't like it. He said this when he was having an interview with a podcaster, Theo Von. So you can see that now Trump and Trump administration officials are beginning to step away from this war. One thing is clear, they are not in a hurry to continue military support to Ukraine at a time that Ukraine is at the back foot. Of course, Ukraine has also stepped up its drone attacks, and it has been very ingenious in damaging Russia. It has actually Ukraine has taken the war to the Russians, and within the past few days, there's been a lot of attack on Russian power stations, on Russian infrastructure at a way that had never been seen before within Russia, not within all parts of Russia that were part of Ukraine. No, this is within Russia itself, in different oblasts, in the Bryansk Oblast, in the Kursk Oblast. There's so many oblasts within Russia are now being attacked. And one region, one city that is being attacked relentlessly with Ukrainian drones is Moscow. So Ukraine needs help at a time that the Russians have stepped up. The Russians have stepped up and intensified. If Russia is damaging Ukraine, it is not only the damage that it is doing to Ukraine on the military, on the field, in the battles, but also the propaganda war. Because Russia has stepped up this propaganda battle where it's saying that, look, we have your soldiers, these are your soldiers, come pick them up. But Ukraine just can't pick these soldiers. Now they are putting out word that Ukraine is not sensitive to its debt. Ukraine is mean. Ukraine does not want to pay the salaries, the benefits of its dead soldiers, and this is damaging the credibility of the Zelensky government among the ordinary Ukrainians. The Russians have stepped up serious propaganda war because the Ukrainians just don't have $2 billion to settle as terminal benefits for dead Ukrainian soldiers, a whole lot of them, 6,000 of them. But Ukraine's friends are also now stepping up. Ukraine has complained that even though its drone campaign is very successful, it is running out of drones. It doesn't have drones anymore to push the war the way it wants to. If anything has changed the war, slowed down the Russians, and defined modern warfare, it's been Ukrainians' use of drones. Ukraine has been very ingenious and they have used drones to be more effective than all the weapon systems given to them by the West. The Attacker missiles, the Challenger tanks, the all the Storm Shadow missiles, none have been as effective as simple um, FVP drones and all the various drone systems that Ukraine has managed to forge for themselves and also buy from abroad, mainly through their partners who get Chinese drones towards them. But so there's a drone shortage now for the Ukrainian soldiers, and they have complained. But the Europeans have come up and stepped up and said that they will help Ukraine to get more drones. Britain, United Kingdom, very hawkish against Russia, has said that they will give Ukraine 100,000 drones. France is saying that they will help Ukraine to get, in fact, it emerged today that France wants to tell Renault, the car company that we know as Renault, to set up a factory to build drones in Ukraine. I wonder how long that one will last, because it is very obvious that the Russians have developed pinpoint accuracy in destroying targets within Ukraine with their Iskander missiles, their Zircon missiles, their hypersonic missiles, their whole suite of missile systems that have been proven by this war to be very, very effective. So Ukraine is on the back foot. But if anything happened after that strike, it was the fear the escalation of tension in Ukraine's NATO allies. Germany suddenly saw the need to become a militarized country. Since World War II, Germany has been almost pacifist. They've fallen under the security umbrella of NATO and most importantly under the security umbrella of the United States. But now they have chosen to militarize. They are spending a lot of money. The EU under Sullivan Laden has also said that they're going to increase funding. They will raise a fund that will help in the rearmament of European military, the militaries of the European countries. So as for Britain, Britain has said they are going on a war footing. France itself has been one of the most bellicose and belligerent partners of Ukraine in this war, trying to escalate the war to the point of even saying that they will send troops to the war. They have said many things, including putting boots on the ground. So we see at a point now that Ukraine is really in the backwater. Ukraine is having a big challenge. Ukraine is having a terrible time. Donald Trump is backing away from the Ukraine war. He has said that he needs to back away anyway so that the Ukrainians and the Russians will duke it out a little bit, then maybe he can step in. I guess it's almost the analogy of when somebody falls into the ocean or in a swimming pool. You let him expend a lot of energy, a little bit of energy before you jump in to go and rescue him so that you don't become a possible victim of drowning yourself, especially if he doesn't know how to swim. So Trump has said that he will let the Russians and the Ukrainians continue with their war for a while before maybe when it is time, he will jump in to make peace. He still believes he should make peace. For him, I have come to see that the rhetoric of making peace is Donald Trump's own way of saying, I can't give these people any more money but I will help them to make peace. Because like I've said in previous videos, Donald Trump is not a fan of Ukraine. He has memory that is unpalatable. The one that led to his impeachment in the first term, when a member of the National Security Commission Council reported him, a whistleblower reported him to the Congress, led then by Democrats, that he was pressuring Ukrainian President Zelensky to open investigation against Biden. That led to his first impeachment. And I don't think after that kind of experience, whatever transpired, whether he feels that there was injustice there, whether he is not a fan of Ukraine, nobody needs to. Everybody knows that. Although Ukraine have friends and Ukraine is trying to do, those friends are trying to help Ukraine. Those friends are within America. And those friends, we know a lot of them. Those ones are the ones who have permanent Russophobia. Those ones who always want continuation of war. Those ones we call the neocons. Ukraine has a lot of them backing him. He bipartisan support in all parties, in all the parties. But Donald Trump is the president, and it is Donald Trump who signs off on all these weapon systems to Ukraine. And at this point in time, Donald Trump is not asking Congress to give Ukraine more money, neither is he even willing to sign up on approving the money that had been released in the past previous regime to Ukraine. Ukraine is in a bad shape. And Donald Trump is, should I say, maybe getting back his revenge against a country that he feels wronged him. This is my video for today. If you have any comments as regards to what I have said today, please put in the comment section. I urge you to subscribe. If you're new to this channel, if you're watching me for the first time, my name is Ebimo Amungo, and this has been my view as regards to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. My view regarding geopolitics is broad, but for today, it is the Ukrainian conflict and the fact that Donald Trump is putting a dampener to the sweet joy of Operation Spider Web. Thank you for being with me to this point. I'll see you in my next video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.